I was born in Berlin, Germany, capital city. My father was, as a young man, brought up in an all-assimilated home. And in the First World War, he was sent to Poland as a German soldier. And he was a single child. And in Poland, he saw these big religious Jewish families. And he was so overwhelmed that when he came back from the war, he went to be a religious man. He was sent as a already journalist, and he was as a journalist and an economist. And when he came back from the war, he got a wonderful position in the German government. He went to be the advisor to the Minister of Domestic Affairs. But the moment Hitler came to power, the whole government had to step down, and my father, as a Jew, was not taken back. And then he took my mother and me. I was a single child at that time, 1933, and we went to England. My mother was a daughter of a famous lawyer, and she was a teacher. We went to England, I said, and we went to England. And in England, in Germany, in the office, my father would not work at the Saturday. He would come in, would see the mail, would go to synagogue, and Sunday, all alone, he would work. And now we arrive in England. Sounds good, no concentration camps in England. But he got also offered a very good job with Unilever, the big concern. But the moment he told them he cannot work at Saturday, at the Shabbat, they said, goodbye, we don't need you. And then my parents made a big mistake. Nobody asked me. Instead of then going or to Palestine under British mandate or to America, they went in the wrong direction. But who could know 1933 or 4 what will be very short time later. In Holland, they rented a very small apartment, and in that apartment, they opened a little office. The purpose was to help all the refugees my father was sure will come by the hundreds from Germany, to settle or in Holland or somewhere else. He took in a lawyer, also a refugee, and my mother, that was a teacher, went now to be the secretary in that little office. First week in Holland, she takes me to the grocery shop, and we met another refugee lady with her little daughter. It was Mrs. Frank with her daughter Anne. Anne was half a year younger than me. And it came out they live in the apartment next to ours, entrance next to entrance. The lady spoke in German, no one knew at that time Dutch, and we little girls looked at each other, I don't remember. Several days later, mother brings me to kindergarten. I don't know anybody, I don't know the language, and I saw that little girl from the grocery shop. But I saw only her back. She made music on little bells. And the moment she finished, she turned around, she saw me, ran in my arms, and that was it. From that moment, we were friends. And through us, also our parents. So I grew up in Holland, really, because in Germany it was only 3 or 4 years.
Can you tell us about your friendship with Anne before?
Okay, I told you already how we got to know. And so we really did everything together. Look, I couldn't eat there because we had now a kosher home. A Jewish, how do you say, ritual, how do you say? We had now a kosher home. But also all the holidays, the Jewish holidays were in our home. By example, at Yom Kippur, our very holiest day, mother wanted to pray. I got some sandwiches. I was sent to Frank's. And I would meet there Mr. Frank and Anne. Mrs. Frank and the oldest daughter, Margot, 3 years older, would go to synagogue and fast. And Mr. Frank and Anne would fix the food. I would eat my sandwiches, would go back to synagogue to my mother. There was one holiday that was in our home, not a Jewish holiday, that was not in our home, a not Jewish holiday, 31st of December. Then the Franks had a very little party, 4 couples or so. My parents were invited. And Anne and me, after kindergarten, went also to a non-Jewish elementary Montessori school. So there was vacation. I could go and sleep with her. 11:45, they would wake us up. We got a donut or something. And then back to bed. And the next morning, we could play the whole day and so on. So really, everything we did together. She even came with us on vacation sometimes and so on. We were 9 years real friends, from kindergarten till 42 when they went into hiding. My name is also in the diary.
Oh, okay. How did you and your family get sent to the concentration camp?
Okay. So in meantime, everything was quite normal. We went to school. When the war started in Poland, in Holland, we didn't see any differences. But 10th of May 1940, the German army occupied Holland. We had a 5-day war. Also in the beginning, nothing changed. It took a year and a half, till the Germans learned how the Dutch population is towards the Jewish people. Because in Poland, they started immediately with the laws against Jewish people, because the Germans knew that Polish people also don't like Jewish people. In Holland, it took a year and a half, but then it was very, very quick. And today we know that 85% of the Jewish population from Holland didn't come back from the camps. And that is the highest of all of Europe. Yeah. And maybe I can say a word to this, and that's very sad. The Queen from Holland went with her ministers, or she fled with her ministers to England in these 5 days of war. And she could speak to her people by the BBC. And she did very often. And she never, never mentioned you should or you could help your Jewish friends or brothers. We Jewish people already had no radio. And nobody then put attention to this. It came today when everybody makes inquiries or research work. And that's very sad, because it could have changed a little bit, the whole story.
Can you tell us about the first time you met Anne?
אני לא עניתי על איך נשלחנו למחנה, זה עוד ש... Okay. So 1940, they occupied Holland. In the beginning, there was no difference. But after a year and a half, all the laws started against the Jewish population. First thing, everybody had to get an identity card, also the non-Jewish population. But we Jewish people got a big J printed in the identity card, so everybody immediately could see we are Jewish, and we had to wear the yellow star. And then it started every time with something new. Every Thursday night we had to buy the Jewish newspaper to know what was again forbidden. Because you never could say to a man of the SS, the German police, I don't know or I didn't know. That's impossible. Then you had your punishment, take your rucksack, you are going to a working camp in the East. That's what they always said. They never would say, we are killing all of you with gas in Auschwitz. No. And that sounds a little bit different. So we really didn't know what's going on. No television, no radio, no rumors. Maybe there were rumors, but the parents would see that we children don't hear them. And then they started to take the people. First, they started with people from the whole country, Holland. And then there was even a very little ghetto, but my family, I don't know why, we were at the end in our apartment together with Christian neighbors. But everything was separated. We were not allowed to visit them, and they not us. Anna and me had a Christian dentist, an orthodontic doctor. We were not allowed to go anymore. First we had to walk, because we were not allowed to go with a bus or a train. nothing, not even with a bicycle. We had to walk for an hour or so, and then we were not allowed to go at his house at all. And every day something new. And then 42, the family of Anne Frank, we heard a rumor they went to Switzerland, but really they were going into hiding in her daddy's office. And we still could stay a year at home, 8 months, not a year. And that I have to explain. נדמה לי שזו שאלה אחרת שמה, אני לא יודעת. Look, my father was chief of the press in Germany. And maybe that helped to save the life of my sister and mine, not of my father and my grandparents. What happened was, in the year 40, my little sister was born. Already after the Germans occupied Holland 1940 in May, and my sister was born in October when I was 12 years old. And now really till then we always went to the office of Mr. Frank at Sunday. But now Anne and her sister came to my home to see how my mother makes a bath to the little baby. And then very proudly we would go on a walk with her. And then I was 12 years old. My mother dreamed of having much more children. And in the